on this episode of Conspiracy Realists.
Website called Truthism.com.
Didn't go how you planned.
It's no longer hosted.
Kind of a movie buff. Just a little trivia there for you.
They say the Earth and every other planet is hollow.
No, Spanish is domingo.
What's going on, YouTube? This is your host with the most, Jelly on Toast, coast to coast. Don't mean to boast, but it really is. Your boy, Skinny Penis. His best friend, Bat Dog. Is that Batman's dog?
Bat
Is
Dog.
it Bat Dog? Or is it? It's Super Dog and Bat Dog. Is it seriously Bat Dog? Oh, it's Ace the Bat Hound. That's better. That's not great. But
Okay, that is better. That is better. See, that, I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to see it tomorrow night, the new Batman movie.
Oh, lucky.
But I think Ace the Bat Hound would have improved that movie.
Well, that's fair.
Again, before seeing it, but I do think Ace the Bat Hound would have been an improvement, regardless of the tone.
Well, I think Ace the Bat Hound would have been an improvement on literally any movie in the history of cinema. Gold Rush, Charlie Chaplin, add Ace the Bat Hound. Or any movie, like, put it in There Will Be Blood. Shawshank Redemption, Ace the Bat Hound.
But, shit, man. I just spent so long researching this stuff that I'm brain dead now.
Perfect.
Hey, folks, welcome back to the podcast, formerly known as Two Guys, One Truth, but like Prince, the king of pop. Sorry, that was Michael Jackson. He was the king of pop. But like Prince,
rewind it.
But like Prince, who we all know was the real king of pop.
Oh wow.
I'll die on that hill.
I'm not even going to engage. That's not what the podcast is about. But
it's not what it's about. But anyone listening who has differing opinions, either keep it to yourself or fucking email me.
Whoa.
And we'll have a civilized discussion about this via email.
Does not sound civilized.
The most hardcore form of modern discussion. And then I'll cancel you on Twitter.
Like the king of pop that is Prince in this scenario, comma.
Yes. The artist formerly known as Prince. We are the podcast formerly known as Two Guys, One Truth. Now known as the much better name that Nick had come up with originally.
I don't even remember coming up with that.
Oh, it was in the text you sent me. You said, it was the first one you said. You said Conspiracy Realist, something, then Two Guys, One Truth. And I was like, Two Guys, One Truth is very funny. And then every time I went to look up our podcast, 13 million other podcasts.
It just wasn't that original of an idea. Sorry.
It wasn't that good. And I flubbed, I screwed up, I picked that one. But yeah, Conspiracy Realists, much better name.
Agreed.
Much more descriptive of what we do.
Right.
Much more unique. So that's the name now.
I miss the Pine Barrens. I miss my little Pine Barrens.
I just want to go back to the Pine Barrens. What are we doing this week?
I will make it. It's my life goal to have 3 episodes about the Pine Barrens on this pod.
I'm sure you could have 30.
For sure.
There's probably a Pines Barrens monster, that's not the Jersey Devil. It's like the Loch Ness monster, but it's...
Right. Well, every good supernatural hub on Earth has to have a flying cryptid, a land cryptid, and a sea cryptid.
Mm-hmm. So we've got our flying one.
I guarantee there's some sort of squatch thing in there. And then as far as sea goes...
Oh, I hope it's called the Pine Squatch. I really hope it's called the Pine Squatch. Or the Baron Squatch, which is a double entendre and very sexy.
Right. Very sexy.
Is he called Baron Squatch because he's in charge of the other Squatches, or because he can't have children?
Could be both. But you've been you're a little sloggy from doing a lot of research. Is that right?
Oh, I have never been less excited to talk about something in my life.
Didn't go how you planned?
Did
it go too well?
Both.
Okay.
This is, in middle school, I hit a phase, because I was a weird kid, where I got really into cryptozoology and like UFO theories and all that stuff.
No, I mean, like you either like sports or you have a cryptozoology phase, because I did too.
Yeah,
you know what I mean? Like,
and my mom never let me play football because she thought I was too brittle boned, and I was not very good at soccer. I was good at ultimate frisbee, but there was not an actual team for that, so my options were fairly limited. So I got into cryptozoology, and I spent a lot of time on Internet Explorer looking up aliens and like proof of aliens, and then I remember I went down this rabbit hole. I found out about these Japanese sea creatures called the Ningen, which were kind of like big white ship-sized merman creatures, very creepy looking.
ship-sized.
Yeah, they were like massive. I mean, maybe not like a freighter, but like a boat you would own.
Oh,
Like
what's that supposed to mean? A boat I would own?
That's not
Oh,
what
what
I
kind?
meant.
What, I would just own a fucking piece of shit boat? You. You don't know about me. You don't know about what kind of boats I can afford. I could have a pontoon by high
That's what I
noon.
meant. That's what I meant. A pontoon, like a dinghy, like a little.
Okay. So they were big. So they were pretty big. They were decently large. What, they look like people?
Yeah, they look like mermaids, except they're
So, like,
all white.
their nipples would be as big as, like, our heads.
Yeah.
Okay, all right.
Yeah,
just
they
so I'm
were
getting-
huge.
So what about these? What are they called? Ninjago?
Yeah, they were called Lego Ninjago.
Okay, so
They were kind of like mermaid stingray combination. You know, like how stingray have like a face on the bottom part of them?
yeah.
They kind of looked like that, but if that conformed to a more human shape. It was very freaky.
Anyway, what the hell was the point? The point of the Lego Ninjagos?
Yeah, so I got into Lego Ninjago in my middle school years because I just got into this cryptid phase, and those were like some of the first ones that I found that I kind of actually believed in, because they were obscure enough that I was like, oh, this isn't totally fake, but it wasn't big enough to be like a big deal. Like I feel like aliens are such a common thing that everyone's like able to fake alien stuff, and you're never quite sure whether something's real or not. And then you have dumb things like the Fresno night crawlers, which are clearly just people wearing like trash bags and walking weird.
Yeah.
And then Ninja were kind of this middle ground where I saw the pictures and I was like, I mean, like that.
You know, I think I know what I think I know what you're talking about, actually.
It's pretty convincing. And that kind of just started me on this whole rabbit hole of looking up stuff. And somehow that led me to the site which I'm talking about tonight. I found my way to a website called Truthism.com. And it was a shoddily made HTML website, black background, bold green, neon text.
Looked like instant messenger shit.
It looks like a MySpace page. When we were in school, I don't know if your school taught this, but my school still taught us to code websites in HTML, like very basic websites, which feels so rudimentary now because you can just make a Squarespace account or whatever,
Right.
and make one.
Yeah, we had a class where we did that as well, like coded it and shit.
You know, and it's not even like coding with like CSS or PHP and like doing WordPress stuff. It was like full ass HTML, but it never looked good. There was nothing you could do to make it
not
look
a
bad
chance.
at all. And that was all Truthism was just an HTML blog basically, but with one page where someone just ranted.
Just the ramblings of a madman in digital form.
Exactly. And I went to go to the site now to, one, refresh my memory, and two, to do research for this episode. And I found that the site doesn't exist anymore. It's no longer hosted. When you go to look it up, it just brings you to a GoDaddy landing page telling you can buy the domain. And I was like, well, I definitely don't want to do that. So I went to archive.org and used the Wayback Machine to find the site, and I found hundreds of snapshots of it.
Ooh.
But I remember reading it like way back in the day, like our middle school era, which was like 2007 to 2009 or something.
Yeah.
So I went back and found the earliest version of the site I could, and the earliest one I could find was from November 3rd, 2006.
Okay.
This is the version of the site I remember. So I'm just going to read you the opening scrawl of text on it.
The information on this website is not crap, bullshit, or crazy conspiracy theories. Attempting to hold on to your existing worldview will only be a waste of time, so accept the truth now or pay the price later. Warning: upon arriving at this website, you most likely have the strong instinctual urge to automatically defend your current belief system and to reject all of this information. But realize that attempting to use your belief system to filter out this information is a nonsensical paradox, because it is your very belief system that is at issue here. Thus, instead of using a belief system to do your thinking for you, think for yourself via using your own brain. Hopefully you have one, and your personal intuition. For those of you who have been asleep your entire lives, here are some basic things about reality that you might just want to catch up on.
That's the intro to that website. That is the
First
thing
guy
that pops
who
up.
I know is a guy, first off.
Oh, absolutely.
Had long hair and wore a trench coat.
Yeah. I'm going to look it up real quick. When do you think Matrix Revolutions came out? You're not allowed to... You can't Google it.
Why not?
Because I said, when do you think? I said, I have the information in front of me.
Oh, well, 2003.
You motherfucker.
Just a little, I'm kind of a movie buff. Just a little trivia there for you. 2003 Matrix Revolution.
That's that film school education coming in.
Well, sure. Oh, we definitely talked about the
yeah.
Matrix films.
I don't think we did, though, did we?
Definitely not.
Weird. We definitely should have.
Yeah, I mean, that was kind of, at least the first one. Like a huge...
Right. It's a big deal.
Anyways.
But okay, so this site came out 3 years after the Matrix Revolution.
So he probably wore a trench coat.
He definitely wore a trench coat. So I have just kind of a bullet list of... Because I can't... I make money writing. That's like what I do now, day to day. And I don't think I've written this many words in my life. So I have briefly summarized some of the main points. If I say anything that you think needs more explanation, just let me know. I have the Truthism site pulled up still, and I will dive deeper into something, but I have some basic bullet points. And I want to reiterate this. I put these bullet points in the order they're presented on the website.
Okay, that's okay.
And I didn't, I cut some things out, but I followed the basic order of everything. And so I started where they started. So so you're going to hear some crazy stuff that's like, whoa. That's where they started with this. So there is a cursory knowledge here that is just automatically
Was this something edited by multiple people?
I have no idea.
Or it was just one guy that I mean, is it like...
I genuinely have no idea.
Is it told through like narration? Like he still stays in first person?
Yeah, it stays, I mean, it's kind of in second person the whole time.
Yeah, like he's like talking to
directly.
you. Yeah.
Yeah. And then the copyright at the bottom just says like, copyright, Truthism, whatever year you're looking at it. So it doesn't say the author name. It's one static web page.
Right, but does it cover multiple conspiracies and topics? Or is it just about one kind of giant conspiracy?
It's one... This is the issue. It's one giant conspiracy, but it incorporates so many other ones.
So he just keeps going. Like, it just keeps adding shit, tacking shit on.
And that, right, and you'll see this as we go on. The 2006
So it's like a giant
version,
manifesto.
It is. It's like, I'm 90% convinced Elliot Rodger wrote it. But the 2006 version is... It's fucking nuts on its own. And then it gets expanded upon later. And it's like, how did you take this already insane thing? But I just need to go through it. The 2006 version is so tame in comparison, both in its tone and its subject matter, compared to even the 2010 version of this website that it's like, I want to know who made it because I want to know what happened in those 4 years. So the 2006 version starts basically explaining that human beings were created by a reptilian alien species known as the Anunnaki, who still rule over us to this day.
I've heard of that.
Yeah, this is a very common theory that reptilian aliens created humans. It's not that crazy, but that's what we're starting with. They then go to say that half of all humans are organic portals,
Yeah?
which are soulless husks who imitate humans, designed by the Anunnaki to keep us in line with the status quo. Also important, you might be an organic portal and not know it. There's no way to tell. Absolutely no way to tell.
Okay. Yeah, I guess you wouldn't know. Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah, I mean, you don't know if you're one. No one else could tell if you're one, but you might.
Yeah,
You
the
might
things
be
you
one.
do may keep things in order without it even being obvious. Okay.
And that's half. That's 3.5 billion people on this planet.
Oh, okay, all right. That makes sense, I guess.
Sure. Yeah. They say the Earth and every other planet is hollow with an
Yeah.
inner sun.
An inner sun.
And in the case of an inner sun, so there's the outer sun that we revolve around, there's an inner sun at the center of the Earth.
So the core of the Earth is a sun.
Is a sun. And instead of there being like several layers between, it's like the crust, the inverse crust, and then I guess an inner sky and an inner sun. Inside the Earth is another species of humans, some of whom are aware that we exist, some who are not. You can actually reach the inner Earth through the polar openings, which are the North and South Pole. That's why the Aurora Borealis, and the other one that I don't have the name of memorized. Hey guys, Editing Austin here again. I was just going through the podcast, recording, editing as I do. And right at this exact moment, I remembered the lights at the southern pole are called the Aurora Australis. I didn't look that up. I didn't Google it. I had this knowledge in my head already. It's the Aurora Borealis and the Aurora Australis. I just remembered. So I just wanted to come in. I just wanted to clarify that information and let you all know that I'm not an idiot. So back to the pod. But the northern lights and the southern lights at the poles, both borealises, boreali, borealisi, those are where you can find openings to access the inner Earth. So if you travel there, supposedly, you can find them. Another really big point that Truthism made was that religion is not real. It's a creation of the Anunnaki as a way of controlling humanity. They say that for millions of years, the Anunnaki have seen that we can be controlled via religion, and so they've created them as a form of indoctrinating and subjugating us. When we worship religious icons, we are actually worshiping unknowingly the Anunnaki.
Maybe.
Maybe. So the original Truthism site also linked there to another post from a different site called Z12, XEEATWELV, Z12. The blog post was called On the Brink of Anunnaki New World Order. But what I think is really interesting about this is that it counters some of the points Truthism makes.
Okay.
So there's a paragraph that says,
There are many reasons why the Anunnaki remained hidden from human eyes on the planet all this time, and why they have not used their technology to annihilate the whole human race. One of the reasons is that most of the races of Anunnaki are not particularly attractive in physical terms. When they arrived on Earth, they were taken in by the human form and admired its appearance. This led to many aliens mating with human women either forcibly or voluntarily. Many of the Anunnaki have sought strong sex drives, and the fact that humans can mate whether in or out of season was a bonus for the aliens on Earth.
But Truthism said that the Anunnaki created humans. And then this site...
So Truthism Trenchcoat just picked what he wanted off of that site.
Right, because then, this other site, which, again, Truthism links directly to the article.
Linked it, yeah, you only know about it from Truthism.
This said that humans were already on Earth, the Anunnaki showed up and were turned on by our human women. So... also, presumably, they have to mate in a season, because it said the fact that humans can mate in or out of season was a bonus.
Right.
I didn't dive too deep into that article because it was also very long, but I did think that paragraph was really interesting.
Yeah.
Another big point Truthism made was that the universe was created by darkness, with a capital D, who we've come to know as Satan, or the devil.
Oh, okay. So it is a dude. Darkness, the guy.
Yeah, darkness, the guy. Darkness, the proper noun. Holds all of us captive inside it, and we can't break free because of our inherent coding, otherwise known as DNA.
Okay.
So we're living in a virtual reality created by darkness, but outside of that is the true realm, where beings are free from their coding. But when we die... that's not where we go. We go to the fourth dimension, which is another of darkness's realms.
Well, hold on. So they're saying that the Anunnaki aren't real now, and it's all a simulation, or it's a simulation created by the Anunnaki?
Yes. So
okay.
That's the big picture idea here, is that we are living in a matrix within a matrix, and that the Anunnaki are working for darkness to enslave humanity within its own matrix. So we are captives of the Anunnaki, who are themselves subjects of Satan.
Okay. All right.
When we die, we go to the fourth dimension, which is another one of darkness's realms. And the only way to reach the true realm where darkness resides is by destroying the universe. Again, this is still the intro to the site.
I just think it's great. They're just making names up. Anunnaki
It's
in the darkness.
insane.
Like, where's the stone tablet that told you those names? How would you know? You could, and a cupcake named Bimbo and ate my ass. Like, maybe.
And if you ever venture too far into the swamp, you might encounter a green ogre who's got many layers like an onion.
Not bad. Could use work. Better Shrek than I could do.
Got a little Russian, honestly. Got a little weird. The accent.
It did.
So, not only are we living in a not real universe, the guy who wrote Truthism can't leave anything alone. So, on top of that, they also said that the sun is not a sphere.
Well, what is it?
It's a cube.
Oh, it's a cube.
It's a cube. It's a
More
perfect
geometric,
cube.
or
But it only appears spherical because it's rotating at such a high velocity that it looks like a circle.
I could buy that. I don't know why it would be a cube, but that explanation maybe would. Maybe.
It seems like an extraneous detail. It's like,
yeah.
we'll throw this in too.
Okay, and what does that have to do with any of it? They just want to say that the sun's a cube.
Again, I'm putting my bullet points in order of how the website did.
Oh, right.
So they say the sun's a cube, and then they go on, and here's another direct quote from the website.
Jesus Christ, an actual true light being who came to Earth and the leader of all truth warriors in the false realm, had his name hijacked by the Reptilians. They used him as a character in their perverted, brainwashing bestseller entitled The Bible. For disinformational and metaphysical reasons, the Reptilians decided to use the name of the actual true light leader for their fictional Son of God character.
The idea here is that Reptilians created a base religion upon which all other religions are founded, which they call sun worship. Sun being like S-U-N here. The evidence for this was mocking through the saying, the sun the Father and the Holy Spirit, Son in that case being S-O-N, but alluding to actual sun worship. Other hints that Christianity was sun worship included Christians attending church on Sunday, and then the sun rises in the east, and the resurrection, aka the rising of Christ, is celebrated on Easter Sunday. I do want to point out that this only applies to the English language,
Right.
where those words align.
Do that. Yeah. That's, yeah.
I'm not a linguist, but I did take a couple years of French, and it's not,
Right.
things don't
No,
work that way.
No, Spanish is domingo.
What's the Spanish word for sun with a U? So it's sol for the sun, and then hijo for child, son. So neither of those sound like domingo.
So this is just, so far, I mean, he's really just, it's just kind of stuff going down the page that really doesn't relate to each other at all. It's just him saying, yeah, did you know that the sun is actually a cube? And that the lizard people touch my titties?
Every night when I sleep, they come into my room and they slap me with their lizard c***s.
You should get that checked out.
Yeah, that sounds like paranoid schizophrenia.
Or a good time.
Oh, they also quoted the writer Thomas Paine right after all of that information, saying, the Christian religion is a parody on the worship of the sun, in which they put a man whom they call Christ in place of the sun, and pay him the same adoration which was originally paid to the sun.
That's a bit of a reach, guys.
I should have checked this. I actually don't know if Thomas Paine ever actually wrote that.
That's fair. It wouldn't surprise me if he did or didn't, either way.
Yeah,
but
it's totally, it's like something he would say, but also they could have just...
something that guy would make up.
Right. So at this point in the website, I'm like 50-50 on things, right? I'm like, clearly, I don't believe this. But it could either be someone just kind of having fun, or there's that, 0.05% chance that it's all true.
Right. No,
I mean, sure. If you accept everything as being a little bit factual, there's enough here. If I was more impressionable, I might buy into it.
Yeah.
The problem is that right after that, it starts getting weird. So as proof that the sun is a cube, they analyze historic sun crosses, starting with the ancient Celtic ones, which, it was literally just like a circle with a plus in the middle, then evolving in the Nordic, and eventually getting up to the Nazi swastika, saying that it's an accurate representation of the cubic sun because of the sharp angles representing the way the sun spins. Okay. And for me, anytime you start using the Nazis as a historically accurate portrayal of something, I start to back away a little bit.
The Ark of the Covenant, the Nazis, they were into everything. Sure they were.
Right. So you're kind of losing me a bit with swastika is good because sun is cube.
Yeah, that's... All right. Go on.
They follow that by saying that before humanity, the Anunnaki created dinosaurs to ward off other species that might potentially want to inhabit and conquer Earth. And then they kind of just throw in this next bit. But apparently there was another alien species already living on Earth that the Anunnaki wanted to get rid of, so they also made the dinosaurs to get rid of them. And then they decided that they were done with the dinosaurs, that they had served their purpose, and they just killed them all.
Wiped them out.
Yeah, so it wasn't a comet or volcanoes or whatever. It was just the Anunnaki being like, cool, thanks for getting rid of those guys. You're dead.
Control-Alt-Delete.
Yeah.
Well, all right.
And then they go on saying that in ancient times, the Anunnaki were a lot less discreet and were openly worshipped as gods. And they showed pictures of a bunch of ancient Egyptian hieroglyphs
that supposedly depict the Anunnaki.
Yeah. Right, yeah. You know, those old,
Yeah, no, I know, yeah.
Yeah, so the last little bit I have about the 2006 version of Truthism, they end with these few quotes. The first being,
The only reason why Earth is a significant planet is because the device for restarting time was dumped here thousands of years ago. If the reptilians, who are darkness's head agents, do not restart time by 2080, the Mayan calendar date of December 21st, 2012 is disinformation. The universe will eventually crumble apart. A process that will happen gradually over time and thus be destroyed.
so what I think is really interesting about that is this version was from 2006.
Right.
And they're saying that we need to restart, or the Anunnaki need to restart time by 2008. So they're giving themselves like a very short time span.
Yeah. They need to restart time.
They also ended with a rant about how our universe is just one of 12 realms, using a 12-sided die as their example. And then, yeah, the bit about being in a matrix, within a matrix, created by darkness, but ruled by the Anunnaki.
And that's 12. That's 12 universes that are in that simulation,
Right.
created by the Anunnaki under the control of the
And
darkness.
then, yes, and then the true realm exists outside of that.
And that's where the Anunnaki live.
No, they live in the center of the earth.
Oh, right. Okay.
Yeah. No, Satan lives outside.
By himself?
They don't get into that.
Sure they
I don't know if there's a darkness and a lightness. I just know there's a darkness who created the 12 universes.
Okay. All right. All right.
The ultimate conclusion of the 2006 version of Truthism says,
Earth is an energy farm and human beings are the crop. That's why aliens created humans in the first place. They planted us here as a seed and they harvest us by eating our emotional energy. Society, aka the Matrix, is simply fertilizer for the crop. In other words, the Matrix is the engine that keeps human beings going as a viable food source for aliens. If the Matrix was not interesting to us, then we would not give off the proper or sufficient emotional energy to aliens. Nothing in the universe is infinite. The false realm is a finite realm. Nothing in the universe is pure. The false realm is a contained realm.
that's where that version of Truthism ends. And that's the version I originally read.
So they're saying that we're like batteries for the Anunnaki. So does that mean, are we like hooked up to shit, like chambers, like in the movie The Matrix, and then they eat us or consume us or however they do that? Or are we being consumed within the virtual reality?
Yeah, I have no idea.
Right. So because how are we an
I have
energy
no
source
idea.
for something that isn't existent if what's inside? If we are also on the outside and just being hooked up and seeing and living our lives in the simulation, but being in the outer world to be used as food. Because if not, then how could we be used as food?
Yeah, and they also mention the concept of souls. So,
Okay. Sure.
like, presumably everyone on Earth who is a real person has a soul that exists here and in the true realm. And then everyone who's a, what was the,
NPC.
organic portal. Yeah, and every NPC, every non-player character here is just a husk. They're just a body that exists.
All right. Why don't they talk about the Italian entree gnocchis? Because imagine getting a new gnocchi.
Your annual gnocchi, your Anunnaki.
It's your Anunnaki. That's right. Anyone that orders gnocchis at an Italian restaurant, they know that they're not the NPCs. They're the ones that are woke.
Should we start a gnocchi subscription service
I would,
where
but
we deliver a year's supply of gnocchi?
actually, somebody stole my gnocchis.
Oh no.
You know who did it.
Yeah, but you should tell the people at home.
It was Fibonacci stole my gnocchis.
He's
Fibonacci always.
Let me tell you, he's a Fibonacci boy.
He is, and anytime I have gnocchis, he steals them every time. Doesn't even leave me with one. Each and every last one of my gnocchis.
That is a cruel, cruel man.
I mean, he's just a mathematician. So there's nothing on the site until 2012.
So the next update was 2010.
Okay.
and then there's an update in 2012, and then an update in 2015. But I read over them quickly. I didn't dive deep into every version of it. There didn't seem to be a huge difference between the 2010, 2012, and 2015 versions other than the year of the reset. It went from 2008 to 2012 to 2014 to 2018 with each subsequent version. They just kept pushing that date back because clearly they were wrong.
Right.
So,
that's funny.
So I'm going to refill my drink real quick, and then I will be back to explain to you the updates that I can't describe with an adjective verb.
All right. Is he gone? Okay. You guys, Austin is keeping me in his basement. He doesn't let me leave. He only lets me record the podcast. It's the only time I even get to speak when I don't have a fucking ball gag in my mouth. He's chained me to the radiator. He only feeds me fucking cold oatmeal, and I don't even know if it's oatmeal. You know, I'm assuming it's. I'm hoping that it's oatmeal, and I'm naked. And every once in a while, he lets me wear one pair of pretty pink panties, but I am never, ever, ever allowed to wash them. So they are so dirty at this point. And I'm chained to the radiator, so I have to shit and piss, where I am.
All right, I'm back.
Hey, buddy! Love you,
off
love
the
the
record,
podcast.
I do have a question for you.
Okay.
Are you, wearing the pretty pink panties I gave you?
Can we just keep going on with the...
wanted to... No, you haven't washed them or anything, right?
No, absolutely not. If I had them, I certainly wouldn't, because that would be stupid.
No, of course not. No, I just wanted to...
I wouldn't do that.
Just want to make sure.
Thank you, Master Austin.
You're welcome for the kindness I've shown you tonight.
Mr. Austin.
So anyway, welcome back to the podcast. So that's Truthism 2006. But they expanded on it in 2010, 2012, and 2015. And if you want to hear what they changed, tune in next week for Truthism Part 2.
Oh, who is this? Why, thank you for letting me into the room. My name is Interrupty McGee. You see, I hail from the family of McGees, and we are known to interrupt podcasts and come back next week. We're going to have to stop it right here because I'm interrupting. I'm so sorry. I don't know who that was. I'm so. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. I got Interrupty McGee out of here. He had to interrupt, but we'll see you next week if that's the case.
He can't help but interrupt.
He cannot help but interrupt.
Good.
All right,
that's
the
pod.
pod.
Thanks for listening. Follow us on Instagram at the Conspiracy Realists. Follow us on Twitter at RealistsPod. Because the other ones I wanted to use,
The good ones were
taken. We were too late to the game. And email us at the old email, 2guys1truth@gmail.com. If you want to talk about
Pictures of ducks.
yeah, honestly, don't even touch any. I just send pictures of ducks at this point. I don't want to see anything else.